us, wanting to talk about, again, for the Medicare Cafe pre-chat, where me and a special guest is going to talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about prior to Medicare Cafe. Today was actually pretty helpful, talking about Christmas parties for your employees. Sometimes we talk about what we're having for breakfast and what we're doing later on that day. That is not why you guys are here this morning, though. You guys are here to listen to the Medicare Cafe. So welcome to the Medicare Cafe. You're joined by your hosts. My name is Olivia Richardson. Today I have, again, we're bringing on special guests each week. And again, I'm really excited to bring on my good friend and partner in crime, Will Pierce. Will is a member of Senior Marketing Specialist, has been with the company now for almost 4 years. But Will actually chairs and sits on an extremely incredible team called Key Accounts. So Will, before we get into today, why don't you give a little bit of introduction and what is Key Accounts and what do you do for Key Accounts?
Yeah, so as Olivia said, I've been here now for almost 4 years. When I actually first applied for SMS, it was for the contracting department. Those who have known me over this time and know that that probably would not have been the best fit. So I've kind of bounced around a little bit. I started in what was our support team, so doing all of the reactive stuff for everyone. And then I moved into the accounts roles, doing some more of that proactive stuff for everyone. And now for Key Accounts, I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades. So I do both sides of managing our agents' business, helping them with all their day-to-day stuff, reactive application problems, all of that sorts. We like to think of ourselves as kind of the Amazon for our agents. You like this, so let's bring you a little bit more of that in your day-to-day and kind of bringing them customized support from their FMO.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. You should put that like on a business card, just that whole thing
That
right
whole
on a postcard
right
business
there.
card.
Yeah,
yes.
Perfect.
So again, welcome Will to the show. I know you're very familiar with the Medicare Cafe. Today, what we wanted to talk about were the do's and the do nots, aka the don'ts of Q1. A lot of people, when you're looking at we're getting into our goal setting time of year, we're getting into our creativity, and oftentimes we're getting into where a lot of us are going to get ready to receive a fat check for everything that we did during AEP, because you don't get that money until after Q1 starts. So we're wanting to go through what you should be doing and what you should be completely avoiding during the first quarter of the year. So let's jump into our first do. Please, 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 in Q1, do an actual marketing campaign. Don't just, think that my phone's going to start ringing because people are going to have questions about their insurance. People are going to have questions about the OEP. You have to hit Q1 strong in your marketing campaigns.
Yeah, you really do. Someone who I've been looking at that 3 prongs and think, what are you talking about? To me, 3 prongs means your outbound campaign that you're doing. What are you sending outwards? Your findability, how easy is it for people to find you? Facebook, website, all that kind of good stuff. And your content creation. On those platforms, what are you putting out as your 3rd prong, and what are people seeing when they do come across you?
I love that. It's I work with a lot of agents, and it's like, well, I'm doing this lead drop. I'm going to do a 1,000-piece mail drop in this area. I'm not going to demonize leads. I think leads have their purpose. They're great to give people a boost in production. They're great to help people start out. But if your only marketing system is doing 1 lead drop, there's 1 prong. You should be having 2 more activities that are helping to loosen or get rid of your reliance on actually purchasing leads. So we're talking about things like, are you doing a mailing campaign? Are you doing a lead drop? Are you doing seminars? What's your social media looking like? So making sure you're doing a full comprehensive marketing system that gets you business tomorrow, but also helps you build your business and build your name recognition, like Will was talking about, for the upcoming years. We also recommend trying it for 3 months. If you do a lead drop and that lead drop doesn't work, or you get a horrible percentage of return on that, it may just be the luck of the draw. So in order to know if something is truly going to work for you, you have to do it consistent. You have to and be able to do it for at least 3 months to give that marketing platform or marketing campaign a real chance at success.
Yeah, I mean, you may have to call a prospect 5 times before they end up actually picking up the phone. So don't give up on it too early. I know it can be easy, and it can definitely get frustrating. When you're looking at your consistency and how long you're going to try it for, I have a fun acronym that I like to use. Not everyone likes acronyms. I, however, do. You need to be setting SMART goals with it. They need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, realistic, and time-based. Once you go through those first ones, you can actually look at how long you think you're going to need. 3 months may not be enough for your marketing campaign, but that is, like Olivia said, the minimum that we do recommend giving it a try with.
Now, Mary asked a really good question, and she says it doesn't really have to do with Q1. It's more specific to a carrier, but Mary, it does have to do with Q1 because it's activities that's going to be keeping you busy in January. Saying that a lot of these carriers emails, or she received an email that carriers like WellCare, SilverScript, Aetna, other carriers like that are requiring scope of appointments being submitting with their applications, which again, most carriers do not require that. There's a select few that do. So I understand, again, maybe you didn't submit those in. She says, is there any way that senior marketing specialist can provide me with an Excel spreadsheet of my book of business so I can go back and supply those scopes of appointments? So I know most carriers actually do not give us any access to your book of business as regards to like the names of the individuals, what policies they're on. We don't, as the upline, actually get access to most of that information. Some of those carriers though, and Will, you might know this because you work more closely with the carriers than I do, may allow us to get something about that. Do you know if WellCare or SilverScript will allow that?
Yeah, WellCare, we can actually look at applications submitted for a 1/1 effective date. As Olivia said, it'll have minimal information, usually just client name. And Aetna, we can direct you onto the portal and actually show you how to pull your entire book of business. Now, you can filter a specific application range, so you could pull just from this last AEP on your portal. Yeah, I would definitely advise to give our agent resources team a call. They can help navigate you on both ways and help you get all squared away on it.
Or better than I even thought. Look at that. All right, so that's our first do. The first don't is going to be don't market OEP. And that's something to keep in mind of saying, and when I say by market OEP, I mean you cannot market to prospects that they have an additional election to make changes. That is not the same thing as educating your current book of business or your current clients. So you can, let your clients know if it's a current client of yours, you can say, hey, if you're unhappy with your plan that you're currently on, I will have an opportunity up until the end of March to correct that plan or change your plan. So again, doing that to your current book of business, that's considered education. That is completely fine. What you can't do during OEP is put out a marketing piece, put out a commercial, put out some sort of advertising that says, hey, it is currently OEP, call me and we will go ahead and we can change your plans. So again, it is an education conversation, not a marketing conversation.
No, now, that's not to say you can't still target various SEPs, such as clients that are turning 65, various 5-star plans that are potentially in your area, or if you are an agent that does work in and serve the Medicaid market, there is, of course, you can always talk to those customers as they do have that quarterly election, but you cannot specifically target OEP like Olivia said.
Mm-hmm. So don't do it. Don't look at it. Don't touch it. Don't smell it. If you wanted to look over like, hey, because there are some things that you can kind of like, compliance is kind of a gray area. So there are some where it's just like, hey, can I say this and get away with it? We have an on-staff compliance officer. We'll take a look at that. We'll skirt you one way or the other. So just don't be afraid of doing it, but give us a call. We are more than happy to kind of help you toe that line. Our next due in Q1, please ramp up your social media. Social media is bigger than ever. Thanks to the effects of COVID-19, just keep rumbling through the next couple of years. Facebook's usage has been up tremendously. People have gotten used to seeing their social interaction that way, so they continue to do so. I will tell you the only thing that's worse than not having a Facebook page in 2022 to represent your business is having an active Facebook page. So it's really important that if you maybe took a few months off of your Facebook marketing, retroactivate some of those posts so it doesn't look like you're just popping out of nowhere.
Yeah, not only retroactive them, but what I like to advise people to do is to block off a section of your time, preferably maybe Sundays when you don't do a whole lot with your clients, and schedule your posts out for the next week. It really does not take a lot of time to do. Get familiar with Facebook Business Suite, Business Manager. They always change their names, whatever it is now.
It changes every week. Like they have nothing better to do than like, let's tweak this one thing.
Well, it's now Meta, so I guess, all things a wash at this point. But get familiar with it. Schedule your post for the week. It really only take about half an hour, and you can get an entire week's worth of content hammered out, and you look like you're always on it, even though you don't have to be.
Yeah. And that's something that I do. I actually currently manage about 6 Facebook pages in my spare time, being a mom and doing all the things I do for senior marketing specialist. But I measure my Facebook posts, like how much time it takes by how much wine I get through that Sunday night. So I get very creative with my Facebook posts as the later the night goes on. And Brian, welcome, Brian. Congratulations, Brian, on all the changes that you've made going into Q1. And I know, Brian, you're very excited to be able to see Willie P here today. So this was just for you, Brian, just for you. Now, keep in mind when it comes to social media, we primarily focus up until this point on Facebook alone because Facebook is business to consumer. It's how you're going to earn more referrals, keep your retention. LinkedIn, we're actually seeing a huge amount of ramping up towards LinkedIn, but keep in mind the purpose of that is going to be business to business, which is equally as important because you want to make sure that you're able to network and build a name in the industry for sure.
Not only build a name, but you might find some referral partners through LinkedIn as well. So
yeah. And stay in contact with them. Video is king, nothing new. Facebook Lives, posting a video, it doesn't have to be professional. Literally, almost all my videos are me and my smartphone just holding it like this and having a conversation. So keeping it simplified. You don't need all the big stuff, but video is king. And your worst video will outperform your best blog post. Terry asked a great question. If you do a vision campaign, can you slide into OEP? So it's all about your intent. When it comes to anything compliance related, is what is your intent of that? So my favorite things to do during Q1, and I'll talk about this here in a little bit, is to do a dental vision hearing campaign and a hospital indemnity campaign. You get your foot in the door by offering a product, a non-core product, because it's lower premium, lower underwriting. It takes less trust up front to make that purchase or make that exchange. Get your foot in the door, but once they become a client, then it's an education thing. You get your foot in the door with digital vision hearing. If the conversation comes up and an OEP gets brought up into that conversation, that is fine. But as long as you can prove that your intent with that lead order, that intent with that drop was a dental vision and hearing sale, then you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Our next don't forget to send and this goes right into the point we just talked about, don't forget to send us your lead and marketing materials for approval. So keep in mind, guys, we all talked about this until we're blue in the face. October 8th, the MCMAG, the Medicare Marketing and Communications Guidelines were updated for the first time in like 3 years to include people like lead vendors, to include marketing pieces, to say, you know what? You used to not have, okay, let me put it like this. Back before the 8th, you were not really allowed, if you were going to be marketing anything specific about plan benefits or plan details, you had to go through a carrier. You couldn't just say, hey, we have $0 premiums for you. You had to say, hey, here's a United Healthcare approved piece that talks about having a $0 premium for United Healthcare. Let me put that into the world. So we're really restricted on us being able to market and advertise Medicare Advantage plans and benefits. You had to go through a carrier and use their pieces. What happened on October 8th is they said, you know what? You as a consumer can go ahead and market. Let's get $0 premiums. Let's market dental benefits, hearing benefits, gym memberships. You can do that as an individual agent. However, CMS has to see your pieces first. And so you as the agent don't have direct access to CMS to get those pieces approved. However, we do because of our partnerships with the carriers and the size of our organization. So again, we have an on-staff compliance officer that has direct access to CMS to get your marketing pieces approved.
Yeah, now if you're going to look at buying leads from a lead vendor versus trying to create your own and craft your own pieces, definitely ask them for all of their approval information. And if a lead vendor doesn't want to provide it to you, I honestly would not recommend working with them because at the end of the day, you still before your own compliance, and we don't want anybody getting in any hot water unless it's a hot tub on a cold day, and that's a little different. But yeah.
Yes, I am down. Like I hate that expression, like don't get into hot water, but like hot water sounds pretty great. Let's
Yeah.
not get into cold water. Anyways, but yes, 100%, like Will mentioned, you have to make sure that if you are using a lead vendor, you have to make sure that lead vendor's marketing pieces are approved. If that vendor cannot say, yes, this piece has been approved by CMS, it's okay. You can take that piece to us. We'll get that piece approved for you. Just know, again, like Will said, you are liable now for what lead vendors are putting out there. Brian, am I going to be on your call? Probably. Wink yes. Can I wink yes? The next due, AEP follow-up appointment. Sadie and I just did a webinar on this exact topic a couple weeks ago, but follow-up appointments are the #1 best retention tool and best referral practice. And it's the #1 way to help protect you against rapid disenrollment. Keep in mind, rapid disenrollment is whenever you enroll somebody into a Medicare Advantage plan, and within the first 90 days, they disenroll to go to another plan or just disenroll for no reason. So again, Q1 appointments are the best tool to retain the book of business you worked for so hard for during AEP.
Yeah, we all like to think that our clients will never answer those 1-800 calls or respond to various mailing pieces, but let's face it, if you got them from a mail drop you did or from a lead campaign, odds are they might be responding to other ones as well. So as marketing increases, your retention is going to be ever the more important. Not only do you need to remind your beneficiaries of the plan details, but help teach them and train them to call you, the agent, not the carrier, and most certainly not Medicare with any questions that they may have. Train them and remind them that you need to be their first call so that you can answer all of those questions for them.
Which is exactly why they'll stay with you and why they'll refer business to you, because they're working with a human. They're not having to call 1-800 Medicare or call the carrier. But if you don't tell them about that, then how do they know? So again, every conversation we have with your clients is you training them on how to react to phone calls, how to react to your marketing pieces. So absolutely, and again, it's no secret that during AEP, cross-selling is limited. And I will tell you, we've seen the numbers. We know that hospital indemnity plans were grossly undersold during AEP. I mean, like alarmingly undersold. So if you're wanting to steal business from other agents, or if you're wanting to protect your book of your business from other agents, hospital indemnity plans are going to be how you do that. You can make those sales during AEP.
Yep, absolutely. And if you are like a lot of our agents and you fill out a fact finder every time you meet with a client, refer back to that when you're doing these post AEP follow-ups. Look at the information that they said. What were their concerns at that time? When you follow back up with them to go over this stuff, make sure they got their cards, all that good, et cetera stuff. Refer back to that fact finder. It should give you a really, really easy pivot to those ancillary products of their concerns.
If you don't have a fact finder, call us, we'll get you one, because fact finders are the best way to cross sell and they're the best way to structure your appointment. Don't forget taxes are a thing. I was really glad that Will could join me today, because Will comes from a family of accountants, which is crazy that you have you have a personality. How does that even happen?
That's a good question. I've wondered that myself. I'm kind of a little bit more of the extrovert of the family, I suppose. I'm a little weirder than the rest of them. Imagine that coming from 2 CPAs. But yes, don't forget taxes are a thing. I know none of us like to see that bill from Uncle Sam, but my wife is a small business owner, and let me tell you what, that bill can rack up awfully fast. So please find a professional that you know and that you trust. They will know all sorts of those, just like Facebook tax codes change, I swear, every single day, it seems. Get something in the mail from the IRS and you're like, for the love of mercy, what am I looking at? Find someone that can help find deductions or various other benefits for you. But yeah, don't get stuck with a bill from Uncle Sam that you weren't ready for.
Well, do your parents typically recommend, I'm assuming you just learned everything through osmosis, so I'm putting you on the spot, that people, small business owners or people who own their own agencies, just these type of people, that they pay on a quarterly basis or just do one big check?
So it's whatever you're more comfortable with is always what the advisement they have told when we were setting up all of the stuff for my wife, Madison. It's whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to pay quarterly projections, absolutely go ahead and do so. Work with your local CPA to get those estimates and get everything in place. Or if you're comfortable just kind of writing out the year and, paying that large chunk at the end of the year, that's fine. If you do that, my advice is going to be to put some away every single time you get paid into a special account that is only for paying Uncle Sam. If you can name accounts on your mobile banking, name it Money for Uncle Sam so that you don't touch it, so that it's ready come into the year to just write that check.
And I will say it's so hard to do, especially, after you get this giant check in the mail for your AEP business. It's so hard not to be like, well, I have to pay these bills. I want to give my people these bonuses. I want to buy and go on these vacations. But that money is there to help you maintain a small business, and taxes are unfortunately a big part of that. So keep that in mind. Do invest in your education. Of course, making sure that there's so many different ways right now to absorb information. Of course, joining us every Tuesday for the Medicare Cafe is one of those. Checking out the university, sms-university.com, or the event calendar to kind of see what Senior Marketing Specialist is putting out there. But there's tons of podcasts. There's tons of, I listen to the Advanced Selling podcast, as well as some inspirational Gary Vee podcasts. I'm a huge podcast person. My poor kid sits in the back of my car and listens to people talk business. And before it was serial killers, now it's inspiration. He's gonna have a really interesting therapy bill when he gets older. Will, where do you kind of get your motivation, your education day to day?
Yep. So not only do I, of course, tune into everything that we have, I've got to plug everything that Olivia does for SMS, because of course you'd be remiss to be missing out on that. I myself listen to a lot of podcasts. I actually am subscribed to various, this is going to sound really weird to say, but various CMS news updates. So I get emails anytime I know, but I get emails every time there's CMS news changes that happen in the industry, long-term care information, all that kind of stuff. So I try to remain as tapped in as I can, but I also have my for funsies things. So I listen to various podcasts such as Stuff You Should Know and Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. I am all over the spectrum, just like Olivia said. I've got serial killer stuff, I've got motivation, business stuff. So a little bit of here, there, everywhere.
I love it. Jay asked a great question. He says, do you have a slide for the fact-finding sheet? How do we get a fact-finding sheet? Thank you in advance. We have them on our website, Jay. So if you go to smsteam.net and click on services and the sales support, we have several of them on there. However, if you can't find them, that's fine. We have a live chat feature on our website we can help you with, or give us a call, and we're more than happy to email that to you or help you track it down on our website. But our website has tons of these really applicable, usable worksheets, fact-finding sheets, slides that you can use, seminars that you can use. So we actually have tools that we give you to help you with the sale. So check out the website. If you can't find it, live chat us, email us, or give us a call. We'll get it done.
Quick live chat tidbit. I will say, for if you are new to using our live chat feature, those are actual headshots of our employees. I have had a few agents ask me if we just use stock photos for those. No, those are our actual employees. So you can kind of get to know the faces behind the names when you are live chatting with them.
We only hire models. It is a qualification. Mary, she said, whether you pay, going back to the taxes, she says, whether you pay quarterly or not has to do a lot with your prior year's taxes. It should be paying quarterly and if you should be paying quarterly and you don't, I believe you will be paying a penalty unless the tax code has changed recently. So proprietorship should seek out a tax expert, just like we suggest people seek us out as Medicare experts. Yes, 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 yes. Use a resource. I love you using local businesses, but I mean, I'm not going to try to learn a tax code or learn how that works, just like how I don't want my accountant to try to learn how Medicare works. Excellent recommendations, Mary. Thank you. All righty. And more of Brian just drooling over Will. Yes. Last do, because again, I want to end on a positive note. So there's a lot more to do than what to not to do, but please, please, please think about introducing a new product into your portfolio. Q1 is an excellent time to start trying things out, practicing on your good clients that you want to work with. But cross-selling right now is more important than ever, because if somebody is just going to you for a MedSup or Medicare Advantage plan, let me tell you this. You're not convenient enough to not provide value. That's why call centers are getting such tremendous success right now. They're not providing the best service. They're not advising, but they're convenient. That's why you're seeing these huge numbers that call centers are putting up. So making sure that you are truly advising. If you're not suggesting ways to fill the gaps that Medicare leaves behind, cancer insurance, hospital indemnity, dental, vision, hearing, long-term care, annuities. If you're not talking about the things that Medicare doesn't cover, you're not advising. You're simply just taking an order. And that's why, again, if that's all you're doing, you're not going to have a good time competing against those call centers.
No,
Introduce a new product into your portfolio.
yes. And I know Olivia rattled off a bunch. So, my advice has always been pick one, kind of master it as much as you can before you move on to the next. I would rather you guys really have one down and have the process of one down than be fumbling through 4 or 5. It's just, it's going to do your clients a world of service. It's going to do you a world of service. So pick one to start with, hammer that out, and then pick your next one to adapt. Hospital indemnity or cancer, as we mentioned on the slide here, are going to be my 2 advisements to start with. Cancer unfortunately touches almost everyone anymore. So that's one that a lot of us have a personal story with, and personal stories, while they can be uncomfortable, they do sell.
Yeah, and I think that's right. Like, sales come in the uncomfort zone. That's why it's so important as sales individuals to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I thought that's like a weird, how many times can I say the word comfortable in a sentence? I'm going to keep doing it. But again, I agree. Hospital indemnity is huge. Again, we saw the numbers, guys. The amount of Medicare people who are on Medicare Advantage plans that don't have a hospital indemnity plan is alarming to me. I mean, like, it's something that I'm like actually like concerned about the health of our clients for. And then just like Will said, to reiterate, he said it beautifully about cancer insurance. Use AMP to promote. Once you get comfortable about it, and I'm not even gonna say comfortable, once you feel like you know enough information about that product, aka read the brochure, to sell that product, use our AMP program, Agent Marketing Portfolio, to be able to let your current book of business know that you offer this. So it's a great opportunity. Do it. Just Shia LaBeouf,
Just do it.
do it. Just do it.
Yes.
And if you have more questions on training for those products or how to have tools to introduce them to your clients, give us a call, guys. But that's what we have today for the do's and do nots, aka the do's and don'ts of Q1. Marketing, sales, and business ownership. Make it happen in Q1. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, now is the time for us to let them hear it. If you guys just want to know what we had for breakfast this morning, that's cool too. I'm here to answer all of your burning questions. But please, guys, join us on Facebook. Make sure you pay attention to the new thing that we're doing called the What's Brewing. Getting ready to post a really cool What's Brewing about SEPs. If you thought you were done enrolling people in 2021, you're wrong. There's a ton of opportunities right now for in the special election periods for last minute efforts to make 2021 the best year you've had.
And Senior Marketing Specialist is here to support you in making 2021 the best year that you have ever had. So if you're taking some vacation, don't forget to give us a call, do some proactive app checks, have questions on anything so that we can help you wrap up this year so that you're ready to hammer out all the do's that we talked about for Q1.
Beautiful. And I want to say thank you to Will for joining me today. Well, it's always a pleasure. For any of our agents out there or anybody of our people out in Iowa, that is currently where Will is at and hanging out in Iowa doing Iowegian things, which just sounds terrible, but you're there. We're happy for you. So again, we appreciate you guys. Terry says, I want to use the chat. Want to use a chat bot. Love this. And Paul, yes, this was recorded today. So Terry, let me make sure I'm understanding. You're talking about like having a live chat feature on your website. I think any way that you allow people to communicate with you, just so that, okay, let me reiterate the question. Thinking about adding a chat bot, I'm thinking that you mean, Terry, on your website. And what do we think about that? So I'll let Will give his thoughts, but really quick, I think any way that you can allow a person to communicate with you, any way that you allow a person to reach out to you is positive. The more places you are, the more places you're going to be found, the more ways that you allow people to communicate with you, the better. When somebody is on, like, let's just say like their computer, a desktop computer or a mobile device, and they're on their website, if your call to action is to call me, what you're asking them to do is to put down their current method of communication and pick up a telephone. So anyway, that if they're already on the computer, having a way for them to communicate via that computer is actually going to translate to more communications because it's just an easier process. I am not the best. I mean, like, I think bots can be helpful as long as the right expectations are set. If you're saying talk to a live human being and a bot shows up, then that's not, then they're not going to be frustrated with having to talk to a robot. If you can say, here, use our live chat for an automated feature to help you quickly, then the expectations are set that it's a bot. People know, you know, kind of what to expect, and you're going to see success there. So it's all about what expectations you're setting with using a bot chat feature.
Yeah, and I would say it kind of depends upon what you want to use that chatbot for. If you want to use it for quick automated things like, hey, maybe someone can schedule their own appointment using that chatbot, might pop up with a few available time options and they can do it that way. That is awesome. But for any sort of like actual answering product questions or anything like that, I would advise using more of like a live chat feature that has a human being recipient on the other end of it.
Very good point. Love that question. Thank you, Terry. Hopefully that helped. Any other guys? And again, if there's any topics that you want to hear us talking about on Medicare Cafe, or any guests you would like us to see bring on again, please let us know. You can email me, olivia.richardson@smsteam.net, or go on our Facebook group. Talk to us on there. We're more than happy, guys, to help and answer questions. We appreciate everything and all of your support. Appreciate you guys so much. So I don't see any more last minute questions.
Nope, but make sure you tell Olivia that you want me back on so that I can make more guest appearances on the cafe.
If you absolutely loved Will, and we'd be devastated if he never shows up again, which I know a lot of you will absolutely let me know. But Will, again, thank you so much for doing this today. Your expertise is always appreciated. Your fresh perspective and fresh ideas are second to none. So Will, thank you so much for playing along today.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys next time. We'll see you again. Check out our Facebook page. Till then, we'll see you on Tuesday. Thanks, guys.